evening, and thank you for sharing your valuable time with us as tonight's Easterseals Town Hall. It is my honor to serve as the chair of the Easterseals National Board of Directors and to be with you tonight to introduce you to Easterseals' new national president and CEO, Kendra Davenport. I'm Catherine Alicia Georges, known as Alicia to everyone. Easterseals is fortunate to have found Kendra after a rigorous national search to find the right person to lead Easterseals as we enter our second century of service to our nation as a leading provider of the changing services and powerful advocacy for the 1 in 4 Americans living with disabilities today. These families, their families and communities nationwide. And there is no doubt that Kendra is truly that individual. She brings to Easterseals a strong record of accomplishment as a leader and senior executive in the nonprofit sector for more than 30 years. Her capacity to lead complex organizations and serve Easterseals well as we position ourselves for growth in order to respond to the increasing and evolving needs of children and adults with disabilities, including veterans and seniors and those who love and care for them, in partnership with our network of 70 affiliates in communities nationwide. Kendra's vision for Easterseals is bold, it's strategic, and promises to enhance the impact that Easterseals is making in the lives of millions of individuals and families who rely on us for services, supports, and advocacy that will truly change their lives. Welcome, Kendra, to this town hall.
Thank you so much, Dr. Georges, and thank you all for being here. It is my great honor to be leading Easterseals at the national level, and I look forward to building on Easterseals' impressive legacy. I want to thank you all for joining us and making the time to be part of this this evening. In many ways, I feel my entire career has been leading me to this juncture. I've spent more than 30 years, as Dr. Georges said, in the nonprofit sector, working for a number of really meaningful national and international nonprofits, always in the nonprofit sector though. And the primary reason I was so interested to come to Easterseals and to lead this great organization is because I believe there exists so much potential for our network to capitalize on the successes it's achieved and the advancements it's led to further influence public policy, raise awareness, and advance a truly transformative change for children and adults living with disabilities, as well as their families, through home and community-based services and greater advocacy at the state and federal levels. Additionally, as the daughter of a career Navy officer and the wife of a career Coast Guardsman, I'm acutely aware of the needs of our veterans, not just those veterans with disabilities, but also those who need assistance as they transition out of military service and into the private sector. Easterseals is there for them in a myriad of ways, and I am proud of the work and eager to expand upon it as the needs of our veterans continue to evolve and change. Lastly, our work with seniors and mature workers resonates with me as well. Our efforts to help mature workers identify and secure meaningful employment as the optimal age of retirement continues to increase as people live longer, and frankly, as inflation drives up the cost of living, causing more seniors to need to work. Easterseals steps in and reduces the barriers they encounter to finding meaningful employment. Additionally, Easterseals does a great job of helping families find alternative day engagement and care for their elderly family members. And alternatives are important because, as we all know, nursing home care is incredibly expensive. All of these services combine to make our work in the aggregate incredibly impactful and vital, especially given that 1 in 4 Americans, 25% of our population, lives with a disability. These reasons to combine to make my job very fulfilling. And they motivate me every day to do all I can to help our affiliates, because so many people are counting on them. But what does our work truly mean to the millions of people who rely on Easterseals every year? It means for parents who have exhausted their search for answers for their toddler's delay in achieving critical developmental milestones, that they finally get the support and the services they need through our early intervention and early education programs offered at Easterseals. And that help and peace of mind goes a long way for parents. It's life-changing. It can also be a job training program for adults with disabilities, or a veteran or a mature worker eager to find meaningful work. Even though work may appear to be abundant, and we all hear every day how many jobs are available, overcoming barriers to re-enter the workforce can make accessing jobs very difficult. But Easterseals is there to break down those barriers, and in the process, provide workers with disabilities and veterans and mature workers the dignity and sense of self-worth we know meaningful work gives people. It gives us those same feelings. It can also mean an adult day program for a loved one with a disability, or an aging parent whose loved ones turn to us, again, as an alternative to nursing care facility help. It can be a mental health support for so many of us struggling with the mental health strain that the pandemic has brought about. Every day we read about young children going back into school who have been taught remotely, and the mental anguish and strain the pandemic has brought about. Just last week in the New York Times, there was a really riveting article about the stress, the mental health stress on our adolescents that the pandemic has placed, and the increased rate of suicide among adolescents. People my age, middle-aged people, and seniors, all are feeling the strain. But Easterseals is there to provide support and hope when things are at their bleakest. It can also mean transportation, and this is something that's very important to me, because people need transportation to get to work, to healthcare appointments, or simply to be included in the community. And transportation, I think, has long been overlooked as a very important social determinant. I think things like education, healthcare, employment are often placed in front of transportation. But for people with disabilities, transportation is how they access those social health determinants like education, healthcare, and employment. So it's very important. It can also mean respite for in-home care providers, and offer other supports for millions of heroes who are caregivers. On a recent trip I made to Easterseals, Indiana, they told me about a program they call Date Night, which allows families with a disabled child, adolescent, or adult to drop them off at Easterseals, Indiana for several hours and know that they're being cared for and that they're going to have fun while they go out and address human needs like shopping, or maybe just having a meal with their spouse or some friends, or doing some self-care. That's so important. And these are just some of the many, many ways Easterseals helps individuals, families, and communities that turn to us and have turned to us for help for more than a century. But so much more needs to be done to assure that children and adults with disabilities are valued, accepted, and respected in all areas of life, and that they're truly empowered to make choices to live the lives they choose. A dear friend of ours he and his wife have a child, one of their 4 has Down syndrome. And he's always said that what he wants for Katie is choice, for Katie to be able to choose. And recently he told Katie and his other daughters he wanted to take them on a trip, a very special trip to Paris. And the other three daughters were all super excited and said, heck yeah, we want to go to Paris, Dad. We're all in. And then he went and had lunch with Katie, who works at a law firm that is run by a partner who also has a child with Down syndrome, who created a very interesting and unique program for them. And he had lunch with Katie, and Katie said, Dad, I'd love to go to Paris, but I just can't. And he said, Katie, this is the trip of a lifetime. I want you to come to Paris with us. And she said, I'm sorry, I have responsibilities. I have responsibilities at my job, and we're having bowling night. I don't want to miss that. And Jim said he physically got emotional, and I get emotional telling the story because he thought, that's exactly it. That's what I wanted. That's what Easterseals gives families by providing their loved ones with disabilities space and grace and a place to go, and work, employment, and programs that help them feel valued and give them the inclusion and access we so want. These are the things that excite me about leading Easterseals and this incredible organization. This is the 4th day of my 7th week here. And on occasion, it feels like I've been here a lot longer. But the best part of the past 7 weeks for me, beyond getting to know my team at National, has been my visits to affiliates around the country, and a listening tour I'm engaged in to learn more about our work. And the learning curve is steep because our work is so expansive, and the scope and breadth of what we do is really nothing short of incredible. And that was really driven home for me on my first trip I made, which was to Easterseals, Iowa. Easterseals, Iowa is run by Sherry Nielsen. I don't know if she's on the phone tonight, but Sherry runs an incredible program. And to say it's a program is an understatement. It's a compilation of a ton of programs, and their campus is set on, tens of acres, 20 or 30 acres. I'm probably underestimating it. And it houses an integrated daycare facility, a day facility for adults with disabilities that they call their brain health center, an assistive technology repair center, and on and on. It has an aquatic center that is just nothing short of incredible. And it took Sherry probably 2.5 hours to give us the tour. It was me and a couple of other CEOs from our affiliate network. We were in Iowa for the regional meeting of our Midwest affiliates. And at the end of it, I said, so the bulk of your work is done here, correct? In all these programs you've just given us such great insight into. And she said, no, the work we do here accounts for about 10% of our work. And I was bowled over. The other 90% is home-based care work that they do throughout the state. Absolutely incredible. Probably the most inspirational part of these visits is when I get to engage with program beneficiaries and see them in action. And in Indiana last week, I saw a group of adults with disabilities, some physical, some intellectual, all engaging in different activities. And just as Katie made the choice not to go to Paris, they were making the choice that day of what they wanted to do, be it paint, be it play video games, be it put their head on the desk. And I was really moved by that. But I'm also often moved by their enthusiasm, the enthusiasm with which they greet visitors like me, and really show how happy they are to be included and be doing things with their peers. My professional background is largely development focused, meaning I've spent the bulk of my 33 years doing nonprofit development, marketing, communications, which really makes me keenly interested in our development work here, in our fundraising, because it really fuels everything we do. And I appreciate very much the longstanding commitment to Easterseals that so many of you on this call have made and continue to make. And I respect and place great value on the fact that you share our vision of a world in which people with disabilities receive the support they need to participate into society and to thrive. It's by expanding and creating donor relationships that Easterseals will be able to deepen and expand its work and meet the ever increasing demand for assistance that so many of our constituencies are expressing. We will be able to continue to answer the call for help and respond to evolving needs of people with disabilities, their families, and the communities in which they live. In many ways, this is a very interesting and a very challenging time to be the CEO of an organization upon which millions of people rely for help. Many people don't know, but the nonprofit sector accounts for 10% of the American workforce. And every day, nonprofits across the country, our 70 affiliates and millions of other nonprofits, fill the void that American businesses, corporations, and the government combined can't meet. The needs that we meet have grown. They've grown more acute since the onset of the pandemic, which has impacted all of us in some way, shape, or form. But for children with and adults with disabilities and their families, the crisis has further exacerbated disparities in education, employment, and healthcare that they've experienced throughout history, particularly among communities of color. Many of the nation's most vexing problems and challenges are ones that Easterseals has answers for. In fact, we've answered many of those challenges for more than a century. With your continued help, we are ready to expand our role as a leader and as a problem solver to address these challenges. But we have to have the resources, right? It always comes back to that. We have to have the resources to do so. We have to have greater support. We have to have enhanced collaboration with strategic partners. We have to have greater awareness by the general public, corporate leaders and foundations, legislators and the media, and individual donors like you. Together, all of those people, all of those groups will help Easterseals continue to meet the needs of the more than 61 million Americans living with disabilities. I invite you to join Easterseals as a donor, as an advocate, or as a strategic partner to help us tackle many of the problems facing our country today. And those problems are critical to us because they disproportionately affect the quality of life for people living with disabilities. I encourage all of you not currently affiliated or associate with Easterseals in any way to visit our website to learn more about us and how you can become involved. Just go to www.easterseals.com.